Gideon. His father died when he was 3, and he quit school in 8th grade and ran away from home. And he lived like a very poor life. And he was a homeless drifter. By 16, he had begun compiling a petty crime profile, and he spent a year in a reformatory for burglary before finding work at a shoe factory. He had a pretty troubled childhood. At 18, he was arrested in Missouri and charged with robbery, burglary, and larceny. He was sentenced to 10 years but released after 3, and he spent most of the next 3 decades in poverty. He served more prison terms in Kansas for stealing government property, in Missouri for stealing, larceny, and escape, and in Texas for theft. And then between his prison terms, he was married 4 times, and he had 3 stepkids. So about the case, June 3rd, 1961, a burglary occurred at the Bay Harbor Pool Room in Panama City, Florida. An unknown person broke a door, smashed a cigarette machine and a record player, and stole money from a cash register. Later that day, a witness reported had seen him in the pool room that morning, leaving with a wine bottle and money in his pockets. Based on the accusations, they arrested him, and then the Florida court denied him to appoint counsel. He was forced to act his own counsel and conduct his own defense in court, and he had to emphasize his own innocence in the case. The court told him they couldn't appoint counsel for him under the laws of the state of Florida. The only time they can appoint counsel to represent a defendant is when the person is charged with a capital offense of super seriousness. At the trial, he made an opening statement to the jury, cross-examined the prosecution's witness, presented witnesses in his own defense, declined to testify himself, and made arguments emphasizing his innocence. And then, despite his efforts, they still found him guilty. He appealed to the United States Supreme Court in a suit against the Secretary of the Florida Department of Corrections, and he argued in his appeal that he had been denied counsel and therefore his 6th Amendment had been violated. And he was sentenced 5 years in prison. And then this is the 6th Amendment. It states that basically every defendant should have a counsel even if they are reported for crime. The court held that the 6th Amendment guarantees of counsel is a fundamental right essential to a fair trial, and such applies the states through the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. He filed a petition in the Supreme Court of the United States, and the court agreed to hear his case and to resolve the question of whether the right to counsel guaranteed under the 6th Amendment of the Constitution applied to defendants in state court. The court ruled that the Constitution requires the states to provide defense attorneys to criminal defendants charged with serious offenses who cannot afford lawyers themselves. And then following the decision, he was given another trial with an appointed lawyer. The impact of this, a criminal defendant who cannot afford to hire a lawyer must be provided with a lawyer at no cost. And then the case helped to refine stare decisis, which is when a prior appellate court decision should be upheld and what standards should be applied to test a new case proceeding to achieve acceptable practice, due process of law. So that's and then the court now has adopted rules that did not require a case-by-case analysis, but instead established requirement of appointed counsel as a matter of right without having to show special circumstances that justified the appointment of counsel.
Okay, thank you, Julia.